Radio check, radio check. Radio check, radio check. Am I back? Is that Helix speaking? Is that Helix speaking? Palada, hello. Am I back, everyone? Is that what's happened? Well, hello everyone. It's been a while. I'm sure if you haven't heard, I'm back. Helix has made his undoubtful return here at Australia, of all tracks, here in Melbourne. Even though I live in Perth on the other side. Thank you all for joining as you all slowly summon into the stream. My name is JPM13, but you can call me Helix, you can call me Jamie, or you can call me whatever you like. But we are back for Season 4, Round 1, the Australian Grand Prix. We start all over again here in House of Racing, and I missed Season 3 because I wasn't here. I left the server, and what a grave mistake it was, but I am back well and truly and here to stay for a while. Either way, let's get some details up. We've done this plenty times before. Hello, hello, all the viewers joining on. Going left and right, Wave Dre in the Williams. Bit of lag, bit of glitch, but overall looks to be a bit more stable than what I've seen on K1 side before. So we'll try and take that with our own sense of understanding. The Aston Martin of Gabby in P5, but obviously no positions are permanent, all just there as an idea until they actually set down some real lap times and we get into it. Anyway, you have a Ferrari stopping out on track, making sure Aston Martins can get out of the way and so other drivers can get in the way and make sure they can get the gap and room they need. You have the teammate to Gabby Chimp right behind him. The Aston Martins almost going wheel to wheel with how close they are. Aussie, Helix, hello, hello. Oh, it is good to be back, but it's also good to be back for Season 4, a new season of racing, a new dawn for House of Racing has arrived here in Formula 1. New seats, new drivers have all come up to the frame. We'll switch to Marinov because he'll be the first one on a lap time here in the Williams. On the main straight here, DRS already active, and so Mac active downforce already playing its effect here at a high downforce circuit here at Melbourne, here at Albert Park, and what a good first corner from the Williams there, already touching the curb, and then it's touch and go from there, using the downforce from the rear wing before going into turn 3. Very decent jump from the Williams, continuing on into the next curb, touch and go. Like I said, there's no point where you want to stop for too long. There's no short speed corners here, low speed corners. No, not what I meant by short. Either way, continuing through the track, obviously purple as being by the first person on a lap time, but that Williams in a 2023 livery is looking very dapper. Anyway, here for Season 4, he is also looking like he's setting a very decent lap. Here in Albert Park, here in Australia, once again, DRS once again active, going into the very high speed chicane that we've seen the W11 take full speed. Absolute grip machine was that car. Maybe not so much this season and with these new regulations, but they still can really grip onto the track, especially with these Pirelli softs. A couple people on the mediums, however, obviously saving their soft compounds for later on. Into the third sector and final sector, just needs to do what he needs to do around the final corner now, right up against the curb, and what a decent first lap here to start us off in qualifying for the very beginning of Season 4. It's P1 for the time being, 118.042. What can Wave Dre do? It's P2 with a 118.540. What about the Mercedes? It looks to be the other one who is disappeared into the distance. There you go, he was on an outlap. So we should go to the Alfa Romeo because he could be the next person on a fast lap. Looks to be Alfie, but he's on an outlap. We're just switching between drivers, but it's Chimp who's going to come around the final corner now. A man who is on his fast lap. to set down his banker time, 17 or 18.173, just missing out in the 17s, a 10th down of Marinov, but very decent position to start us off. McLenny, what can he do on his fast lap? It's P4 with a 118.692, not too bad from the Scuderia. Let's continue downwards. You can see Gabby in the first sector, currently driving for Aston Martin, a nice driver swap, obviously driving in Formula 1, very decent move from Gabby. Continue down, you see Chesney Riz, who once drove for Ferrari in F2, now drives for AlphaTauri in F1, or at least as a reserve from what I have been told. Either way, around the final corner, the AlphaTauri currently in the 119, so he has had a bit of a banker lap, that's for sure. 124.130. I know I say Chesney Riz, it's Chesney Reese. I know. It's habits, it's old habits. Anyway, Gabby currently in the third sector, DRS fully active as that wing is allowing for maximum DRS, and a bit of a slipstream off his teammate of Chimp. Very smart decision moving from Gabby as we now continue through the track, nearly coming to an end here. Couple more corners, just needs to keep it nice and neat, nip and tuck, and he's doing a very good job so far. Around the final corner, you want to touch that curb very lightly, too much. You can see your car bottoming out, but a very decent job and a very decent lap. 117.926 in the first lap, into the 17s. Very good job from the Aston Martin. Gabby already setting up the pace alight. The Red Bull of Alex, 118 flat, not too bad from the Red Bull. Only what, 300ths of a, or 3,000ths of a second slower than the Williams of Marinov. McLenny already setting down his time on the mediums, however, 118.692. Chesney Reese, P10 with the 24.130, and Tixter with a 141.008. But for how much longer was Gabby going to be in P1? Because Joshy Boy, or just Joshy, however you must say it, sets a 117.672, and what a lap time that is from the Alpine. Fantastic stuff. Let's continue down. Cialdini or Hazy, P12 in the Alpine. Let's go to DRL Lancer. He was your Season 1 world champion. He moved away in Season 2, came back in Season 3 while I was away. Did not win the championship. That was the year when jengaaboi won it, or Josh as short, but he is off in Malaysia right now having a fantastic time. Meaning a different grid and a new champion is almost guaranteed unless Josh comes back and completely destroys the grid. But with it being so competitive, I expect it to be close. I expect it to be fast. DRL Lancer through the third sector at the moment. Very decent exit and decent grip through that chicane, already making the absolute maximum. What we are all known him from doing, just pushing it to the absolute limit. Now going onto the curbs, making sure he can still push it as hard as he possibly can. Now just into the second last corner, brakes. Unfortunately has a bit of ABS issues with the front left, but keeps it nip and tuck for the most part. Now it's just full flat to the floor, pedal to the metal across the line, 118.397, and it's P10 on the medium compounds. Not too bad for something that is, what, mediocre on grip compared to those soft compounds. DRL, no assist, by the way, Lancer. He really likes to point that out, doesn't he? He really likes to point out that he has no assists. But you know what? He's earned that right, so fair enough. Windex bottle cap. Currently, the AlphaTauri was on a fast lap. He's not going to finish his fast lap, though. Coming back into the pit lane, he'll stay with no lap time on the board. You have a couple of people already on an out lap, potentially going for another run. Doesn't look to be on new tyres, except for Marinov. The Williams is already on new tyres, obviously. 10 minutes left in this session. It's a short qualifying. I know a lot of grids run a full quali, but short quali, nice and easy, nip and tuck for a lot of these drivers, and it means everything becomes just that little bit more competitive. Everything goes pedal to the metal, flat to the floor, balls against the walls. It is everything in this qualifying session. Right now, Marinov on the out lap at the moment, pretty much ahead of anyone else who's potentially looking ready to set another lap on the board. But Menti Hazza, currently the Alfa Romeo, is in the 19th spot, but on an out lap on fresh tyres, looking to at least just set something on the board to start us off. But let's go to the out lap of Marinov. Looks like Alex and Chimp are still on a fast lap, but not on new tyres. We'll have to see what Marinov can do, however. Obviously looking to improve on his current time. Maybe a little too early, the track isn't fully rubbered in yet, but The Williams has made that brave choice, and now we get to see it unfold. DRS active, downforce at its maximum as we cross the timing line to get going. Going into the first corner, taps the brakes down to 5th gear before continuing on. Very, very solid first couple of corners from the Williams. Keeps it stable, keeps it steady. Continues you on into the 3rd corner. Brakes just enough so you can continue forward. No more, no less. Does very well there. Mid-speed to fast corners here at Australia. It's high downforce, but hell, you can go quick around here. And now continuing through 600s up, and Purple in the 2nd sector. He's really finding some pace now. Currently on a 118 flat. Could see himself improving by a very decent margin. It's an Alpine 1-2 at the moment. It is jengaaboi in P1 and Hazy in P2 with a 17.6 and a 17.7. Gabby in P3 with a 17.9. I'm all comparing this because right now Marinov could see himself into the 17s. That is unless he unfortunately does make a mistake at some point in this lap. But for now, it's been quite nip and tuck. It's been clean. It's been neat. So we'll have to see as we eventually reach the last couple of corners. Looks like he lifted too far there. He's also got ERS on. Don't know what's happened here. It looks like he's backed out of it. I mean, he hasn't, but some pretty slow couple of corners there. Either way, continuing on. Now it's just pedal to the metal, flat to the floor. 119, nearly 118, 788. So no improvements there, and it's only P5 for the Williams as it currently stands. Almost feels like a waste of tyre there. Unfortunate for him on that occasion. Chimp already did his new lap, invalidated unfortunately. Was 2 laps. Was 1 lap. Originally, Minty Hazard's just finished up his fastest lap. Was a P8 at the end of it, 118.166. What about Tessa, or Tassa? I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say Tessa. It just seems easier to say and speak. Either way, jengaaboi and Chaldinho or Hazy are already on an outlap on new tyres. Have to be aware of that. But we'll go to Tessa because he'll be ahead of at least one of the Alpines. The other Alpine is now on a fast lap. So honestly, we'll switch to the jengaaboi in the Alpine. Pink and blue BWT is the sponsor, and a lot of carbon fibre to keep that weight down. Currently going into the 3rd corner, already finished up 1 and 2, that chicane to start you off. Now continue on, taps on the brakes, needs to be careful of the amount of torque he's playing with. Zinc goes fastest overall with a 117.037, sneaking in the background, but the McLaren really setting down the pace, 6/10 quicker than the rest of the field. Fantastic pace from the McLaren of Zinc. Currently on the fast lap with jengaaboi at the moment. Currently sees himself in P2, but for how much longer? That is the real question. We also have to go down there where we currently see the bottom 17 with Dylan and Jono and Windex Bottle Cap and JSTM. Right now though, on a lap with the Alpine, seems to have kept it pretty clean. Purple in the first, hasn't gone as well in the second, but he's keeping it very nip and tuck, very neat, as I've said multiple times, but it is a very fair point to bring up. Anyway, into the 3rd sector. Does well, does miss the apex a little bit, but doesn't go wide. Just playing a bit more of the throttle in this final corner, but overall keeps it all together. And across the line it will be 17.541, improves by a 10th and goes staying in P2, but at least it's an improvement. How is Jono doing? Currently in the Haas for Season 4 for Formula 1. Not too bad at the moment. He did join quite late in the session, but doesn't matter when you join, it's just about when you set your lap time on the board. Currently sees himself in P20, but doesn't matter because there is no board anyway. Currently in the 3rd sector, see what he can do, but we'll quickly switch to Dylan because he's going to finish his lap before we see Jono's, and then we're also going to see JSTM. A mixture of cars all in a bundle of joy, and it's a 117.940 for the Haas. Now we need to see where Jono finishes, P12 with a 118.138. How about JSTM? He's currently on a fast lap on the main straight, nearly coming to an end, and it's going to be a 117.348. It's P2. Wow, McLaren are really starting to show what type of pace they have in their package, and it is fantastic. Wow, really starting to up the mark, and Chaldinho or Hazy just wants to make sure that McLaren don't get too comfortable, and it might just be like real life all over again. Tessa also steps in the way of where jengaaboi was, P4 for the Mercedes, but yeah, Alpine McLaren all over again. Either way, Windex Bottle Cap across the line. It's a 17.356. He goes P4 ahead of Tessa, and that is now everyone setting down a lap time. Illyrian or Albo, unfortunately, has retired and hasn't had the opportunity to set down a lap time, meaning this is where we currently stand. A McLaren 1-3, and Alpine okay, where's the other Alpine disappeared to? There you go. It's a 2.6, a Mercedes 520 because of Albo, and yeah, a mixture of other cars waiting for the opportunity to set down a new lap time. Right now, Windex does seem to be on a fast lap, however, at least from what it looks like. He's still on fresh new compounds, and he doesn't say outlap, so he is pushing. Either way, DRS is open. ERS is pretty much zilch, though, so I don't think there is a point in him continuing to push. 1.3 seconds down, and that already answers all the questions that needed to be answered. Wave Drain Gabia on 3-lap-old soft compounds. Just wondering if they're trying to get some practice laps in before they eventually come back into the pit lane before switching out onto new compounds. You have Alex currently on an outlap for Red Bull. He's on fresh new soft compounds on an outlap for the time being. You also have DRL Lancer still not really performing at the level you'd expect him to perform as he did in Season 1, but maybe the field was just that little easier compared to now. Either way, he sees himself in P14, 1 lap old degradation, so I'm sure he will come back into the pit lane. 3 minutes 20 on the clock, so expect big traffic at the very end here. Expect all those pit lane telemetries to become outlaps in a minute. Anyway, the Alfa Romeo of Minty Hazza comes around the final corner to finish off his outlap. He'll be the first man to finish off his final stint here. DRS active as he eventually reaches the braking zone. Does so with style. One curb done, the other with absolute ease, and the Alfa Romeo is just cruising through this lap. Very nicely done, and it's DRS after DRS zones before eventually shutting once again, and it's the only track with 4 DRS zones. There's no other track that has 4, so bit special, Melbourne, and I'm glad to call it my hometown. But either way, Minty has a continuing through the circuit, does well right over the curbs there, but keeping it as clean as he possibly can. Fantastic stuff from the Alfa Romeo. Sees himself in P16, but he'll be looking for some big improvements through the second sector. We're about to see as he eventually will come to an end through the entrance of the chicane. He's 2/10 up on his time. The Alfa Romeo is really starting to push and show what he is made of, and a lot of people obviously now on their outlap looking for one final go at their fast lap. We'll have to come back and see how that all progresses, but for now we're on with Minty Hazza. He'll be the first man to finish off his final stint here. Less than a minute left in this session, so it is done once you cross this, oh, I mean a minute 50 actually, so not 100% true, but less than 2 minutes left on the clock. Minute 44, across the line. What's it gonna be? It's a 17.979, improves by a 10th and goes P10 just ahead of it. Your boy Alfie in the Alfa Romeo. Let's go all the way up to another driver, and I think a great one to go with would be Chesney Riz. High reputation, good pace, but can he prove it in this, this 4th installation of House of Racing? Not the first, definitely not the last, and Chesney Riz showed what he can do in F2, so he needs to show what he can do here in Formula 1. Anyway, P18, where he currently stands with an 18.329, so I'm sure the AlphaTauri will be looking for some big improvements. DRS fully open, acting as a perfect amount of downforce for such a mid-speed corner. Nearly invalidates, but it was just a piece of lag. 3/10 up on his time at the moment. The AlphaTauri doing very well at the moment, now going into the braking zone. Very flowing track at Australia, especially since they removed that chicane around the second sector. So yeah, very flowy track, and it's mid-speed, low speed and high speed all in one, all in such a small area of time. Can he see himself into the 117s, or is he still going to be lingering in the 118s? It's a 118 flat, sees himself improved to P13 with a 2/10 improvement. Not too shabby from him indeed. It's your boy Alfie's currently on a lap time. We'll see how he can improve. Looking if there's anyone just ahead of him at the moment. Looks like Zinc still where he is, and JSTM still where he is, so it's more just people starting their lap times. But for now, it looks like DRL Lance is also finishing up his outlap, so it's your boy Alfie. Man of a mission at the moment. It comes over the checkered flag. DRL Lancer can only manage P18 in qualifying. 1/10 up on his time is it your boy Alfie in the Alfa Romeo. We'll see what he can achieve. Across the line, Alex goes P9. Marinov, P14, had pace in the beginning, but lacking at the very end of it. Zinc still on provisional pole, but nothing confirmed just yet. Looks like he is on a fast lap, however, so we'll quickly go back to our Alfie in a second, just having a quick look how he's doing it. Your boy Alfie around the final corner, see what he can do as he reaches the timing line. 1:17.742, improves by 0.3 of a second, goes P10. How is Chimp doing in the third sector? Looks like he just needs to find maybe a bit more time. He's in the 1:18s during the third sector, so well and truly out for him. Wave Dre's come back into the pit lane. Both JSTM and Windex Bottle Cap now out as they have crossed the checkered flag, but P2 and P3 very solid positions, and Zinc doesn't see any improvement. He knows he's done. He's actually hit the barrier. He's going to hit the barrier knowing that he's done what he needed to do, and will quickly continue to go down, but there is no one else to go to. Chimp going slow enough where it won't matter, and so it is Zinc. On the beginning of Season 4, here for Australia, it is Zinc on pole position. Very, very good lap, and with P2 being Windex Bottle Cap in the AlphaTauri, and P3 is JSTM 11 in the McLaren. So McLaren starting off with a home run, P1 and P3. Can they finish in a P1 and P2 podium? We'll have to wait and see how that comes once it arrives as qualifying. But as everyone in the pit lane retired or in the checkered flag zone, we wait for the session to eventually come to an end, and there you are. DRL Lancer though, P18. Don't know how much pace he really did have compared to these other drivers, so I don't know if that is surprising or not, but where he currently stands, there you go. Elziabo, Illyrian, first to last challenge, or last to first, sorry. Imagine you get up to first and then fall all the way down again. Anyway, either way, you're right, Albo starts P20. The Mercedes has literally nowhere to go except up. Nowhere down for you. Maybe you should put on some assists. Maybe. That's a cheeky comment from you, Aussie, I can't lie. Either way, Jono, P19, but we're not worried about the bottom markers. We're worried about the top three. Zinc on pole with a 17.037, Windex with a 1:17.179, and JSTM 11 with a 1:17.195. It's a McLaren 1-3, and it's pressure against AlphaTauri in P2. With the race moments away. Does anyone know if formation lap is on? That if they can like let me know. Is formation lap on? Who knows? I'll figure it out myself if no one says. Anyway, no. Okay, cool. With formation lap on, we get straight to the action straight away. Here in Melbourne, here in Australia, here for Albert Park. The pit crew stretched, ready to go for 50% of what be the normal distance worth of action. Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Alpine, all the way down to the bottom markers to the top markers. We are ready for action ahead. It's just a matter of time. The silence that falls on a racing track, and you know what that means. Or do we? We wait for the players to fill in their strategy for one final time before we head to the lights. Patiently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. The lights go out, and it's pedal to the metal for the Australian Grand Prix here for Season 4. And what a getaway from Zinc, and already JSTM already up to P2. Childinho seems to get up to P3. Made a mistake, however, so now it's Windex Bottle Cup in the AlphaTauri, making it all the way back up to P3. Tessa's found a way to go up to P4, and there's already been a retirement. Wave Dre's left the session, and safety car has been deployed. Minty Hazza has hit the barrier right there. You can see it. It's your boy Alfie down to P19. And Alfa Romeo could have not had a worse start. Illyrian or Albo up to P17, so it's at least a little better for him. DRL Lancer stays where he started. And we are all settled down now. But that was quite a start, ladies and gentlemen. Already things getting out of control and then settling down because of the safety car. But Alfa Romeo, that will be a nightmare situation that unfortunately does come to surface. Minty has us out, and it's your boy Alfie, P19, not where they want to be. Anyway, Zinc got a fantastic start. What a start that I got to watch. Either way, he stays in P1. Windex bottle cap now up to P2, staying where it is. And the top 3 does not change. And to be fair, not even the top 4 does, but top 5 and top 6 does change a small amount. Now we can actually get some telemetry on the board, so now we have a better idea on what is happening, what's the strategy. You can see Tessinen and Hazy already going quite long. The medium runners clearly going for a bit more of a shorter stint, but can go for that longer stint if they need to. And then you also have some soft runners like Lancer, Lenny and Alex clearly looking to try and gain that pace when they possibly can. You already have some people coming into the pit lane. You can see what seems to be Jonathan and Chesney. Interesting. Either way, with safety car deployed, everything starts to slow down a bit more. Everything calms itself. Everything becomes much more quiet. And on the first lap of action here for Season 4, we don't even get a full clean race. Plata says he hit me. Reese has wing damage. Oh, and a person joins us in the commentary box here for the start of Season 4 here for F1. Ladies and gentlemen, if it isn't the one and only Astronomy.
I'm late, but I'm here. I'm late, but I'm here.
You're late, but by only a lap, so honestly, it's not too bad.
No, I should have been here at quali, to be fair, but...
Yeah, well, is what it is, I guess. Anyway, Alfa Romeo binned it, now there's a safety car, everything's slowed down. Summary of what's happened.
Amazing.
Yes. One corner, and then safety car. So, yeah, everything
fair enough.
slowed down.
I don't want to be don't want to brag, but I did predict a good season for McLaren, and it's
happened so far.
So far, I mean, we are only 2 laps in, but it looks like it's going good so far.
Well, I mean, all we've really had the opportunity to really see is qualifying and 2 laps worth of action under safety car. But from what we've seen in qualifying, Zinc and JSTM clearly have some decent pace in the bag. But also have a look at AlphaTauri of Windex Bottle Cap, who also qualified in P2, so sneaking in between those 2 McLarens. So it's going to be interesting how that all plays out.
Windex has like really good pace, so in the pre-season race, I'm pretty sure he was in the pre-season race, and he was leading by about 10 to 15 seconds, I'm pretty sure. So
interesting. Well, a change in grid, a change in drivers, and a change in teams has meant very big changes overall to the competitiveness of many drivers. And obviously,
Mercedes, though.
Yeah, Mercedes, you got one in P4, and then you have one all the way down in P15, but you can't blame Albo for that. Fortunately, retired in qualifying, so you could actually say it's a bit more of a good start for him. He's already up to P15, made 5 positions in 3 laps, so I guess that's something for him.
Pretty sure after the multiple incidents after the Abu Dhabi race last season, he obtained a quali ban, so that's probably... unlucky for him.
Albo said in the Twitch chat there was a lot of lag in the first 3 corners. Might be because isn't this cross-platform this season, so it's going to be probably a little laggy.
It might have been due to me joining, but then again, I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows? What I do know is that the host is also driving, and safety car, like you said, is in this lap. What are you eating there, Astronomy?
Oh, sorry, I'm not eating anything. I just got done eating, so my bad.
What were you eating?
A roast.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Anyway, back to the action at hand. P1 obviously being Zinc, and he's clearly not wasting any time, already going left and right, getting some heat into those tyres. In 3rd gear, just cruising at the moment, letting Windex catch back up to the rear of him, and then probably gonna let go, just waiting for him to eventually pull the trigger. Coming around the 2nd last corner now, just being wary of those curbs. And he's pulled the trigger up to 4th gear now. Looks like he's pulled it maybe a little too early, but he's still going to get that gap necessary. Already 0.8 of a second once we cross the line, and it's green flag running once again here in Australia. JSTM down on the outside, can't seem to get the move done. Maybe looking for a switchback of some sort. He's still going to get very decent slipstream, and the use of ERS. He might be able to use the outside line towards his advantage. Can he get it done going into turn 3? Nice, squeezed out of position. The AlphaTauri of Windex Bottle Cap defending like an absolute champion, and for now will stay in his current position. Tessa's getting a lot of pressure from Joshy Boy behind. Can he seem to make any more positions? Alpine in a very decent position for constructors. Will continue to move down, see if anything else is happening in the lower midfield. Seems to be just a bit more stable until you see that it's going 3 wide out of the exit of the next couple of corners. Aston Martin and Williams of Marinov and Gabby now going 2 wide as we continue forward. Let's move back up the field. You can see Tessa still in P4 trying to apply pressure to the AlphaTauri, but then you can see the 2 Alpines really starting to gain on the top 4 at the moment. Either way, you can see Zink has just pulled an absolute blinder of a gap, 1.2 seconds already to JSTM in P2, but it is a McLaren 1-2 like was predicted, and so Windex Bottle Cap now down to P3, but still on the podium, which I'm sure AlphaTauri will be over delighted with. Anyway, Mercedes currently in P4 for the time being, and Alpine just trying to fight back.
That's painful. Jono has had a spin, and is now P19.
See what position that Jono started in, and it unfortunately was where he's currently positioned. He started P19 and he's back in P19. Unfortunate for him, a magnet to be back out of the points. And have a look at this move around the outside and a decent switchback. Unfortunately, though, is all out of position as McLenny is hit, and that has sent him down all the way to P16. We thought it was a good move by Dylan Ark until it wasn't.
What?
What was wrong?
A little bit of lag. It was quite intense, but
maybe on your screen, I'm not feeling the lag too much. Anyway, Hazy, or Childinho, currently in P6, almost just a spectator for what's happening in front, and now a spectator of his own incident. Going all over the gravel, he's going to lose multiple positions. He's down to P9 now. Chimp in P8. The Aston Martin has now gained some more positions against where he originally started, and Alex just trying to fight back on those soft compounds. He needs to do more with what he's currently on, otherwise that whole stint, the whole strategy, wouldn't have been worth it. Either way, moving back up the field, you can see Joshy Boy, obviously DRS not active until now because of safety car being deployed. 121.065 for JSTM in the McLaren. It looks like he's really signed the game on Zink. There is a yellow flag, and it looks to be it's your boy Alfie making a mistake, and the Alfa Romeo sent packing down the grid, down to P19, and Alfa Romeo have really seen the darkest times already on only 6 laps of the start of Season 4. P20 and P19, and already a DNF on one half of the garage. Have a look at this. Jonathan down the inside of the Haas of Jono. Looks like Jono is not wasting any time to try and make moves done, and Jono using that extra grip around the outside up to P16. Not too shabby from the Haas driver. Continue back up the field, see if there's any more fighting happening at the moment. Alex has got all the momentum. Have a look at that with the DRS all to his use. He's going to get up to P6, and by the time they're in the chicane, it is done and dusted. He has lost his rear though. Maybe Williams can come back at him, but with no DRS to help him out, it is fair game for Red Bull, and P6 now secured by Alex. Moving back up the field, however, seems to be a bit more stale until further notice.
McLaren have played a massive team game and pulled a second gap from and that's just almost, I think this might ruin it.
Yeah, but
Zink slowed to pull Shadow along for the DRS.
Unfortunately, it's your boy Alfie has retired on the track, as you can see just in the beginning of the 3rd sector out of the exit of the chicane, which is unfortunately a bad start for Alfa Romeo. No points in the constructors, no points in the drivers. They finished P20 and P19 at the end of it all. Ferrari also looking in a very similar situation. It seems the Ferrari powered units are really struggling at the moment.
Soft runners are having it. Well, yeah, there are soft runners, aren't there?
Yeah, well, there's Alex on softs, and you have McLenny on softs. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are still soft runners, but yeah.
This virtual safety car has benefited them quite a little bit. I reckon Alex probably should have pitted, considering those tyres are going to be quite old now.
Yeah, well, you
And
also
he's
consider that the
drive-through penalty.
no, unfortunate for Jono there. Unfortunately, didn't take advantage of that negative delta, and now because of jengaaboi, all that momentum that he just gained out of the exit of green flags, he's up to P5. Very decent job from Joshi, as now chimps down to P6. Alex staying where he is for the time being until it looks like an AI version of Wave Dre, and now he's hit the barrier and it's lag central over in the midfield, and it's a safety car once again.
There is honestly no surprise. Zero surprise whatsoever.
And you have an Aston Martin now coming into the pit lane. That is
it's a
Gabby.
double stack though. That's going to hurt them.
Yeah, I mean the gap's not big enough for that to really be good. You have Chimp now, and let's have a look at Gabby. Honestly, not too bad. Small weight.
The Mercedes, the predicted drivers' championship winner from Josh, has so far he's leading the race. He's so far leading the constructors.
Yes, but on an overcut strategy, unfortunately, and knowing how these types of things work, someone like Zink, with the amount of pace that he's carrying in that McLaren, with him being on fresh hards and with the temperature, he'll now be able to carry on at a stable pace because of safety car. He's gonna just fly through the pack.
Everyone's laughing at Zink for his race, his quali pace compared to his race pace. There was even a sticker made about it because of how poor his race pace apparently was compared to how he used to do in qualifying. But he's proving that that's not the case. He has the pace in the race. He's just getting unlucky.
Yeah, honestly, no surprises with how things have kind of turned out. I expected some, I wouldn't say shocking new performances from some drivers, but some updates to how things are looking. Anyway, Dylan Uck, P3 in the Haas, he's managed to squeeze himself into that position, but like I said, pretty much at a disadvantage now, because even though these guys are temporarily in front because of safety car, wait until it goes away, and because now Zink's gonna have those stable temperature, brand new fresh hard compounds out of the bakery, it's gonna be game over for a lot of these drivers. Also have
Zink's going to be leading once the hard runners box though.
Yeah, you already have Tessa coming in, and
he'll be on mighty old tyres though by the end of the race. So unless another safety car comes out, he might be in trouble. Good
point. Short term, it helps McLaren and Zink specifically, and a lot of the drivers who have come into the pits now. But maybe it would have been better to actually go on to the mediums and then potentially do another stint at the very end. But
I fully agree. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting how they play this out, really. Either way, safety car's out, and that means literally nothing is happening, and it's just cars going around, followed by a Mercedes GT Black Series using a V8 bi-turbo rear-wheel drive. Tested at the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
I just want to mention LZ making the comeback of all time. He hasn't boxed, whereas pretty much everyone else has, but he has gained a lot of positions regardless, so
it's a
maybe
fair
he
point.
wasn't lying when he said he would be contending and possibly going to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Albo in different leagues, you know, I'm decent mates with him, and I know what type of competitiveness he can have, you know, a bit rough around the edges, but overall he is a very competitive driver. When he needs to set something up, he can, but obviously a bit of a disadvantage right now, but obviously it could also pay off a little later on, because by him having 8-lap old hards, he'll need to box in maybe 2, 3, 4 laps times, and then he'll go on to most likely the mediums, and then that can put him on an undercut strategy against the people who will undercut him when it goes green flag running. Either way, let's go to Hazy, currently in P1 for Alpine. 2 laps to go, and Hazy's got 2 laps to go. He's 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 got 2 laps to And we wait for him to pull the trigger to go green flag running once again, and he's gone already, revving that engine to the 11,000 RPM that is available for using those V6 hybrid engines, and across the timing line to once again go green flag running here in Melbourne, here at Albert Park. And it just looks like a very good getaway from Alpine, and honestly a very good getaway from some of these hard runners. But Zink is already up to P4, already making a position. Actually no, he hasn't made any positions. I take back what I said, it was just Chesney Riz who was in P5. Windex bottle cap, however, all over the back of Chesney Riz right now. He'll be making a move soon, and Zink is now under 4/10 away. Marinov down to P15 as Jono is now up to P14. And have a look at this, Zink is already all the back on Illyrian, on Albo. Even though it was a valiant effort to get up to P3, the question is how far will they fall once Zink and the rest of the field do pass them. Either way, right now it looks like Windex bottle cap is now well and truly past Joshy boy. You go.
The McLaren overtaking 2 people on the straight. He's gonna try and follow Windex bottle cap and try and stay in that DRS zone, but Joshy is pressuring him. Is he gonna make the dive? No, he's gonna back out. Smart move. Oh, but bit of a miscalculation of braking zone, and it's going to cost him the position.
And you also have Chimp, who also thought about it, looked in the inside line, and then eventually backed out of it at the end of it anyway. But quite a fight in the midfield at the moment. Obviously, that always kind of happens at safety car restarts. You continue to go down. You can see Alex, who hit a barrier, now down to P16. And he's going to be pressured by Jonathan, who's going to have more momentum going into turn 1 either way. Continue as we go back up the field, slowly but surely. You can also see, once again, the gap's really starting to tighten up now, and it's really just a matter of time before Zink eventually does get past people like Albo and Dylan, and eventually Hazy, because compared to the tyre difference, it will help short term, but long term it's more of an unknown. I'm surprised JSTM hasn't made as many positions at the moment, but I guess Joshy and Windex are also using their DRS and their new fresh tyres towards their advantage as well. Have a look at this, Dylan and Albo going wheel to wheel, and then eventually figuring it all out. But Albo did get all very messy on the rear there out of the exit, almost like midway through the chicane. Either way, it's given an opportunity for Dylan Ark to send it down the inside, make contact with the Haas, and that makes Zink go up to P3, and the Haas now falls many positions down to P11, now 12. Will it be even further? Looks like he's finally figured himself out, but unfortunately that's now many positions from where he originally was, sped up in a much quicker time lot. Anyway, DRS once again enabled because of safety car pretty much shutting it off. Anyway, Windex Buttercup up to P4 at the moment. 4/10 is the gap between him and Zink in the McLaren, and yeah, right now it is looking very close with these new hard runners against the old ones.
Jardinho is in the perfect spot right now. He will have to box for new tyres soon, but he has gained a lot of time compared to everyone else, and LZ almost spins it into the wall.
It's honestly going to help out a lot, because if Albo's going to keep defending how he is, or at least being a bit more of like a barricade, which he isn't going to be anymore, as Zink cleanly and fairly gets past with now DRS to his advantage. Either way, it was a good run for Zink. I think for Chaldinho, sorry, I think now would be a great time for him to box before everything eventually comes crashing down for him. But yeah, if he doesn't box now, it's going to be in the next couple of laps, that's for sure. But yeah, Zink well and truly cruising through the field, already up to P2 and already on the attack against Chaldinho, and you can see how close it's looking right now as McLaren of JSTM looked for a move on Joshy Boy, couldn't get it done however, and stays in P6, just can't have the bravery and confidence that his teammate has got. Zink 120.998, now fastest lap of the race by over a second quicker. Very, very different from what started at this Grand Prix. Anyway, Wave Dre currently P8. He's almost in a middle ground between the Aston of Chimp and DRL Lancer. And have a look at this. All out of shape allows the Red Bull of Lancer straight through. And a man who started P18 up to P8 made 10 positions so far in this Grand Prix. Joshy Boy with a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunate for him.
It's going to affect him massively. Yeah, there's a lot of if I switch to the interval between people, he has a lot of people that are less than a second behind him, and with the DRS and the massive DRS train, that is not going to help him whatsoever.
And
As
safety
it is a
car
safety car,
again.
so that is going to do even more damage for the people with penalties. But it's going to help a lot of the people far down the grid, as we see.
Actually, think about this. Look at Hazy. He's P1, 2-second gap. Be a golden opportunity to come into the pit lane. Honestly,
He must
yeah,
watch that,
he must. Yeah, he is. I honestly wouldn't see a better opportunity to do so. Zink's also coming in. Windex bottle cap is staying out. Yeah, honestly, good for Zink to do that, because now he can almost reset his strategy and start from zero. So yeah.
Everyone else is going to come in as well, so he couldn't have played that any better, and he doesn't lose many positions for it either.
No, yeah,
Down to
very
people,
smart
but
decision.
benefits him against Joshi and Windex, who haven't boxed, which is probably the mistake.
Yep. Well, getting greedy with positions, it is something that does happen when it comes to safety cars coming out. Either way, like you said, a fantastic move to come into the pit lane behind Hazy. Obviously, it would just benefit him more by him being on the same compounds as Hazy as well. And
is that Tessa retired?
Yeah, that's Tessa retired, and I wonder where that's happened. It looks like...
I think he's retired in the pits.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it, doesn't even look to be on the track, so... For some reason, Tessa's not happy with how his race has gone, and has retired it for one half of the Mercedes, and Albo left to carry. And what I mean, have a look at him. Started, what, P20, made up 15 positions up to P5. Fantastic work.
Whether that's through a safety car or not,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
still pretty impressive, especially considering how equally balanced and skilled all of these drivers are.
And Wave Trey, driving for Williams, now will end in what would be P20, because he was disqualified for some reason. But either way, not getting what he would have wanted. Well, I mean, obviously he's disqualified, but yeah, I don't know really why, but unfortunate for the Williams.
He is only reserving, so it shouldn't hurt him too much.
No, but still
unfortunate regardless.
Yeah. Either way, once again, the third of what I'm gonna guess many more to come of worth of safety cars. Either way, a lot of people pulling into the pits when this safety car did come out on the medium compounds, and honestly the better strategy to do, because now you can plan for the future, potentially use these mediums all the way until maybe lap 20, anywhere between lap 20 to lap 22. I mean, you could go to the end on these tyres realistically, but if you want to do a final soft compound stint, it is very possible.
The mediums do actually go for 15 laps, and with the safety car out, it's gonna...
Yeah, exactly.
The tyres are gonna degrade lot less, so...
Yeah, it is a pretty big factor. Like I said, it's really just up to the drivers when they do that, because these tyres could last the entire distance, so it's more just if they want to take that gamble, but I don't think there's a real reason to. Just try and defend and use those mediums to the best of your ability, and like you also said, safety car's gonna preserve those tyres just a little longer, and yeah, just mean they last a couple more laps.
P1 and P2 are going to struggle immediately. Chaldino's going to be on the back of Joshi, his teammate, effective immediately as it comes in this lap. So.
FIA Race Control have said that safety car will be in this lap, and Windex bottle cap will lead them away, but on 7 lap worth of hard compounds compared to fresh new mediums and a couple fresh new hards as well, the disadvantage is all in the top 2. But what a strategy call by some of them. Even if it was safety car that helped him out, you have Albo, who's now made up 15 positions, Hazy, who's been able to use that overcut towards his advantage, and now he's in P3 and virtually P1 using the strategy. So we go to Windex bottle cap, however. The AlphaTauri controls it and lets us know when green flag does eventually go, and now he revs it up to the 11,000 RPM, doesn't get the getaway that we've seen before, and jengaaboi is going to try and stick with him. 2/10 is the gap, but it is green flag running for the third time running here in Australia, here at Albert Park, and now starting to pull a bit of a gap as Windex Bottle Cap needs to try and do so. jengaaboi already struggling, and you can see two penalties now given to both of the top two. Either way, Chaldinho or Hazy, however you may call him, is really starting to show what type of pace he has, and Zinc following right in pursuit. Albo, honestly, doing a pretty good job at the moment. 0.4 of a second off. I don't think he'll have the pace that Zinc and Hazy have shown, but he definitely has the pace to try and stick with them, with traffic being an issue. Either way, looks like it's all staying pretty steady at the moment until Lancer has decided to use his slipstream towards advantage. You can also see Hazy's made the move up to P2, same as Zinc up to P3, and Lancer's maybe potentially thinking about joining the fight. Now also from P18 to P6, he's looking to try and use that slipstream and those new rubbered in tyres towards his advantage.
Oh,
and now
massive spin from
Windex and Albo.
LC.
Windex and Albo, the AlphaTaurian Mercedes, have been spent all that time for literally no reason. P15 and 16 is where they now currently stand. Unfortunate for them. Jono now uses a perfect switchback, and now down the inside of the Red Bull of Alex, a bit of contact to the side pod, but overall clean racing. Move back up as now Hazy takes fastest lap with a 27.67. McClenny's going to take it away with a 26.35, but McClenny's all the way down in P10 driving for the Scuderia. I'm actually interested to see how Lancer gets along here. He's started P18, he's now P4, he's on the same lap and same compound of tyre as the drivers ahead. It just needs to get past jengaaboi. To be fair, Lancer, the Season 1 World Champion, could be seeing a very decent result by the end of this race.
It's a shame. LZ made such an amazing comeback.
Yeah.
Just to be spun out. What even happened? Did
I don't know. I think it was also a mixture of maybe desync or lag. I didn't get the greatest shot because I was watching the driver ahead, but
yeah, especially since Chaldinho almost spun.
Yeah.
Through the long that would be absolutely gutting.
A change in the podium
the same thing
is changing because Lancer in the Red Bull now up to P3. He has got a penalty against his name, but if he can use all that pace against him, I think he can try and deflect any bad result using that penalty. Either way, Chimp has also done well here using those fresh new mediums. He's up to P4, and DRS is once again enabled here. And look at the gap that Hazy's now been able to pull against Zinc. 1.9 seconds, pretty much 2 seconds here, and it pretty much does become 2 seconds on the exit of turn 1 and turn 2 chicane. And Lancer is also not too far away from Zinc. 0.3 is the gap between P3 and P2, and right now it just seems like all the people on the new set of compounds really are trying to close in on each other, trying to maximize the most out of these tires before eventually they need to settle down so they don't spin every lap. Dylan with a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunately, he'll now be on the back foot against people like Chesney, Riz and JSTM, who unfortunately just hasn't had the race. JSTM, his teammate, P2 and really fighting, and even though he's on the same lap of tires as the rest of the field ahead, he just can't seem to have the pace that Zinc has been able to show so far.
Jordan pressuring Zinc could actually help him get closer to Chaldinho, so honestly,
to be fair, they could benefit off each other, to be fair, because if you know, obviously Jordan uses his rear wing to allow Zinc to get DRS, and then Zinc gets by, and then once again Lancer uses him for DRS, they can allow them to both get caught up to Hazy. So rivals need to work as teammates sometimes.
Okay, Jam could also create a gap to Gary from Dweck, as we see some switch in positions from Chimp and Gabby.
Yeah, I
definitely playing the team game to try and try and catch up with each other.
I fully expect them to be in some type of party, because they're very good at communicating with each other. I mean, they like to chat in Discord, so I'm sure they're chatting away in some type of party though. But with a 3-second time penalty, it might be better to just switch them back around. honestly, give Chimp a bit more DRS maybe on this second sector and then let him by. Give him almost a bit more of a slingshot with the DRS, and that's exactly what they're doing, and it's a smart decision from Aston Martin. You don't want to let a driver who's pretty much going to get affected more from the penalty to be behind you. Either way, DRS now active also on the second part of the chicane, going into the third sector and into the braking zone. Lancer now fighting away very heavily with Zinc, wheel to wheel, going into the second last corner, or third last really, now into the braking zone. Inside is taken by Zinc, outside for Lancer. Just looks like he'll have the advantage going into the final corner. More grip will be given to the outside of Zinc. He'll have more momentum, plus the slipstream, plus should be DRS, but no DRS towards him. Also, have a look at Lance's rear light. It's flashing away, no ERS left in that Red Bull, clearly fighting in the beginning of this race, and now just struggling overall for battery. So is Zinc gonna send it on this corner? No, being patient, just taking his time. His teammate has a 3-second time penalty, currently sees himself in P9. Not what the constructors need if he wants any chance of being P1 by the end of this race. Anyway, 9 laps remaining. Hazy continues to lead this Grand Prix with a 3.5 second gap, but Zinc really needs to try and get by him so he can finally get that opportunity. But what a strategy call from Hazy. I mean, also kind of had to do with safety car that kind of gave him that opportunity, but still, to go onto the mediums and then from there cruise through. He's doing everything he possibly can.
That time penalty is going to hurt Zinc though, but the small tussle between Jordan and Zinc between those couple of corners gave Cialdino a 1.5 second gain
Ferrari
in comparison to the two. So.
Safety car, it was a Ferrari. It was Jonathan who's... Okay, alright, I know what I've just seen. Right, because I've seen it plenty times before. You know what this guy did? He just stopped on track and now he's got going now that safety car's out.
What, who, McClenny?
No, Jonathan. What he did, he drove out of the exit of the chicane, he stopped, waited for safety car to come out, and then he started driving again.
That's petty, man.
It's so petty, man. Anyway, it gives an opportunity for
have a look at the people who boxed, though.
Jono stays out.
Cialdino, he lost his... Cialdino lost his large gap, but the people behind him... Oh, he's not going to DNF. This being... No, he's not. Okay.
Bit of
lag. Bit of confusion between everyone there.
Yeah. Jesus.
What's happened?
Lag is what I'm assuming. Jesus, what is... Am I seeing a pile up of about 10 drivers right now?
Oh.
Chesney Riz, 5 second time penalty.
They seem to fix it between themselves now, but yeah, as I was saying, Cialdino did lose his gap, but every driver behind him, leading all the way down to Chimp,
has a penalty.
And Zinc ignoring yellow flag. He might get that removed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because that's just not...
And I think important to actually have a look at some of the penalties. So a lot of them are just 3 seconds for cutting the track limits. It's what you get for doing that. But Zinc, who could have a penalty removed, currently stands on 8 seconds worth of penalties. And then it's Marinov in P3. He's had a decent comeback in the Williams, though he's also on the soft, so he actually has come into the pit lane and... well, pretty much benefited from it. Either way, DRL Lancer, or just Jordan, currently in P4. He's got 3 seconds against his name, same as Gabby in P5. And then Chesney Riz with a 5-second penalty for probably a couple of things, rather. Skipping pit lane, hitting a driver under safety car. Couple of things. Joshy Boy has 6 seconds against his name. JSTM has 3 seconds, same as Illyrian in P11. Such a shame that unfortunately he won't be in a position that he probably could have been, but unfortunately it is what it is, and racing acts like this sometimes, and yeah, to the disadvantage. And also Albo coming into the pit lane. Dylan Ark with a 6-second time penalty, and Windex Bottle Cap with a 3. Joshy Boy now retires from the session, and obviously in the pit lane how he should do it. Looks like Tessa already did retire, so that was just an old retirement there. It's just the telemetry sorting itself out. So apart from that, we now just have the patience game. Lap 22 of 29. Even if the safety car does come in, it can come back out, but it's when there's 3 laps remaining where it is now officially impossible to get the safety car back out. Unless you get that weird safety car glitch.
I doubt it. Hasn't happened in a while, but Chimp
Yeah.
does have a... He is in a position, at the moment, he is a P2 due to all the penalties ahead of him, whilst he doesn't have a singular one. Maybe if Zinc gets rid of his 5-second time penalty and
Might
he
be
can
P3.
put a big enough gap, then I don't know, Chimp's actually done quite well to make a good comeback.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of racing half of it, really, especially with something like Formula 1, because a lot of other racing series, especially stuff like GT3 and, you know, V8 supercars and you know, GT World Challenge, you know, I could list off plenty more, DTM, whatever. A lot of those track limits types of things are a lot more lenient when it comes to how it's all suited, but with Formula 1, it is extremely strict, so it's important with something like this that you equally have good pace, but also to stay away from going over those white lines, and Chimp's done exactly that. The same as Hazy in P1, who will lead us away once again. Not his first time leading us away from safety car. Either way, we wait patiently for eventually a movement to be made, and up the gears he goes, and once again a decent getaway from the driver behind Zinc will be roughly 4/10 away once he reaches the timing line, and it is green flag running for the 4th time running here at the Australian Grand Prix. Zinc in P2, maybe being pressured by Marinov until he lost his rear and going into the second corner, allowing Lancer into the 3rd position. Hazy's almost looking just too comfortable at the moment, even with a 4/10 gap, no stress under his helmet, and right now already up to 5/10 of a second with no penalty against his name. This is looking like a very cruisy victory at the moment, but never say never when it comes to Formula 1. Anyway, Chimp right now 5/10 away from Gabby. Still may not have the pace that Gabby or other drivers have had, so maybe that's why he's hanging back, and maybe or he just doesn't have the pace.
Jono is still trying to put the pressure on to try and get around him, but Chimp's defending is brilliant as he uses CRS to completely cover that off.
I tell you what though, Jono did give him a little tap on the rear out of the exit of the chicane. You know what, Jono's probably not going to wait any longer. Inside line does send it, not late on the brakes though, and unfortunately does miss out because of that big red sharp curb that can actually affect your floor if you take too much of it. It's like a more aggressive sausage curb. It's like 3-dimensional.
Yeah. And almost a spin from Jono as well, but manages to save it. But that will hurt his time a little bit.
Yep, and JSTM currently has a very decent slipstream against the Haas of Jono, but maybe just too far away for a potential move. Also looks like a pretty decent exit from the Haas. And now you can look at Chimp because he's finally sending it down the inside of his teammate. I'm going to guess that's probably more of a strategic swap, but either way, Chimp with no penalty, it's probably best for him not to be held back and to allow himself to get the smallest gap possible so he can get the most amount of positions out of it. And if Zinc doesn't get any of his penalties removed, then fair game to Chimp. He's going to be P2 by the end of this so far. 5 laps remaining, and right now it is looking, yeah, like I said, too easy for Hazy. Just cruising at the moment. Even if the gap is 5/10 of a second, it just looks like he's got more pace on those soft compounds, really just putting it all together, sticking it all as one. And honestly,
managing to get past Jono though.
Yeah, you're right. And it was kind of happening anyway because he was continuing to gain time against him. So once DRS and that rear wing was fully open, it was pretty much game over. That rear wing pretty much acting as a straight line for wind, so it feels more like a bullet once it's activated. And JSTM might get another opportunity from P7 to P6 if he makes a move on Gabby, but playing it safe, knowing it probably wouldn't be a good idea to make a move through there because it's already tight enough through there. And is he going to send it here? No, just playing the safe card, knowing he wants a very close gap if he wants to do something like that. And Gabby did lose his rear there, clearly not happy with how the tyres are currently sitting. Even though the tyres are only 4 laps old, they are the softest compounds, so expect them to be more like a qualifying tyre than a race tyre. But in situations like this, it can happen. Zinc with DRS will now really start to gain back on Hazy, but with that penalty applied against him, even if he gets one removed, he's still got 3 seconds to his name. Really uses a lot of that chicane to his probably absolute maximum without getting any track limit penalties, though he already has one against his name, like we said, 8 seconds, and this could be a decent switchback from Hazy if he can get the grip that he needs, but already going into the next corner, it's more just a patience game, because now he'll get DRS on the main straight, and Lancer is more like a spectator to it all. Chimp currently 2 seconds off Lancer, and he'll manage himself a P3 so far. And with Hazy now getting DRS, he isn't using any of his ERS though, more just waiting maybe for that second lot of DRS that you get right after through the first and second corner. Don't know the game plan for Hazy. Maybe it's just to stick back behind the McLaren, knowing that even if that 8 seconds doesn't count, he can use 3 seconds as a more towards his advantage.
Good results from McLaren though, as they're the only team who's actually got more than one driver in the top 5, so
yeah, very good point.
They are going to be leading the Constructors' Championship as it stands. I'm pretty sure. I mean, penalties
Aston
could
might
always
manage a P2 here though, because think about Chimp getting that penalty, he'll move up to P3 ahead of Lancer. That is unless wait, what is the current penalty? It's 6 seconds to Lancer. So yeah, Chimp's definitely going to get P3 here by the end of the race, and with Gabby currently in P8, even with his current situation, this could be very decent points for Aston Martin.
Aston Martin. I mean, the penalty that Gabby has could affect him, and you have to factor in, I mean, considering he has to touch the grass just a little bit and gone a little bit wide and lost a lot of time, we have to factor in penalties that could occur after the race as well, any potential tickets that people might submit.
Very true.
This race definitely hasn't gone everyone's way, as it is this track has no grip whatsoever. Friday was a pain. There's been about 10 to 15 tickets, I think, that were reported on Friday. So yeah, as everyone seems to be getting penalties handed out left, right, and centre.
I'm gonna quickly call this out just before we get back to it. I signed up for FIA and my thing was deleted. What's that about?
I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Strange.
Maybe because I left for like 3 months and now I've come back and they don't want me as an FIA. I'd understand. Anyway.
Potentially, but you've done a great job commentating. But Chimp has got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's just eliminate Vice. He's still going to get podium, I think.
Yeah,
but that's just eliminated any chance of him getting ahead of Zinc as well.
To be fair, think about it, right? Lance has a 6-second penalty. Chimp has 3 seconds. So, yeah, well, Lancer would need a 9-second gap if he wants to stay ahead of him, so Chimp will still get P3, because JSTM, I mean, everyone down to P9 was to have a penalty, so yeah, Chimp will still get a podium by the end of this. That is unless JSTM wants to say something about that. He's now taken position out of Chimp's hands. Clearly Aston Martin struggling at the pace at the very end of this, penultimate lap of this race, and quite a late comeback from him, to be fair. I mean, I said earlier on that he was maybe struggling with pace, didn't have the grip or I guess the speed that Zinc had, but yeah, a very late stint here has allowed him to really push back into the positions where we saw him in qualifying. And yeah, this pretty much guarantees the lead for McLaren in the Constructors, at least on one side of the garage. Looks like Zinc's trying to make a move on Hazy. Doesn't even think it might be worth it, but maybe he's trying to look for that on-track win. Either way, Lance is also caught up to Zinc. DRS on both of them, almost creating a bit of a train now. Yellow flag, sector 3. That looks to be an Aston Martin. No, it isn't. It's the Haas of Jono. And it's actually allowed the Mercedes of Albo up back into the points. A bit of squeezing and a lot of contact, but Albo on the outside has made the move stick, and that is him back up to P8. Solid job from the Mercedes.
Chip's really struggling on these softs. He's spinning, almost losing the car 2 corners in a row. So
I don't know, maybe Equal Performance has another glitch. I'm not 100% sure, but
No, I do think this track is really, it has no grip around a
yeah.
lot of the exits on corners, but
It could also just be higher tire pressures that Chimp's using.
yeah,
I
true. It could all be setup related.
yeah. It would be the most surprising. It could also be a lot to do with anti-roll bar. I think one thing that isn't talked about enough is anti-roll bar, because that's you have a front one and a rear one. It's a part of that big carbon fiber looking suspension that you see on the cars, lap 29 of 29. It's also the last lap of the race, but yeah, that pretty much just determines how loose or stiff the rear and front of the car is, how much it pretty much tilts. So the stiffer it is, the more the car kind of sways with the tires. Anyway, a man who has done everything he needed to do, had a fantastic strategy, benefited from safety car, and using the soft stint at the very end, clearly has the pace for it. Much better setup than what Aston Martin have shown. I mean, McLaren will lead the constructors, but a new man will lead the drivers, and Hazy wins the Australian Grand Prix here for round 1 of season 4, and what a race to start us off, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic stuff.
Quite a grid mix around we're going to see now due to all the penalties.
And Chimp didn't even manage a podium at the end of it, 2 tenths away, because of the fact that his tyres fell off a cliff at the very end. But Zinc only managed P5 because of it. We will have to wait and see if any of his penalties are later removed, but for now that is where he currently sits. And Hazy picking up the win for Alpine, with his teammate already in the bin, Joshy Boy, P16 by the end of it, DNF'd.
Could have been such a good result for them, but it's still a pretty good result. They will be, I'm pretty sure, second in the constructors, if not third. But
yeah,
all to a later evaluation.
Yeah, it's all got to do with the FIA now, which apparently I'm not welcome to becoming. Albo says, I've got 15 seconds worth of penalty. This game is a joke, bruv.
I mean, it's his fault.
Maybe it's less the game and more the people who developed the game. You know, no one in specific. EA, I mean, no one in specific. You know. Oh Jesus, he's flying.
What?
There's a podium celebration. I've just seen a female Alpine driver fly.
Oh, I think I did see that. Yeah.
I don't know what I've seen while I've been gone, but I've just seen a driver fly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's true. Hazy literally is a magician.
Well,
there you go.
That.
Anyway, that felt a bit quick. Maybe Australia needs to increase the amount of 100% laps there are, so we can have a longer 50% race. But felt quick. I did comms earlier on, so I guess that was kind of a warm-up, but felt a bit flat today. I guess I'm still getting back into it. Either way,
No worries.
A win for Alpine. Chaldinho / Hazy back on top, and JSTM finishes P2 with Lancer P3, but we'll have to wait and see how long that lasts, because obviously the FIA now have that in their full hands. Either way, thank you all for watching. Cheers. As usual, I guess I'm back here in House of Racing after a very long hiatus and with different leagues. The OG from Season 1 and Season 2 and then took a break from Season 3 is now back in Season 4. You don't expect me back next week for Formula 1, but expect me doing co-coms with K1 in F2. Back with the OG duo as well. Anyway, cheers for watching. Adios. Goodbye.